Hello, this is Rico Cavella, and I want to welcome you to this episode of the Fearless Aging Show. Now, last week, we the title of the show was America Off the Rails, and we went over so many areas of our life that were just totally off the rails here in America. And so, this one, now we're going to try and give some ideas and some solutions for some of these, all of these things that we're so far off base that we need to get back on track. And I hope that it'll be help you. If you have some ideas yourself, I'd love to have you contact me, and maybe we can have you on a show. Okay, so this is entitled America Back on Track to Create a Better World. Now, if you didn't see last week's show, be sure and watch it. Again, you can go to E360 TV. Well, that if you're watching this now, you must be there anyway. So wherever you're watching it from, uh, yeah, go back to next week, last week's on Wednesday. Well, it doesn't matter Wednesday. You now all the shows are evergreen, so you can watch them at any time. So you know what we're talking about, and so now we're going to try and give some ideas and some concepts that hopefully would get us back on track. So, what would America look like if America got back on track? Well, it's my opinion that we need to come together with a united vision of how do we really want our country to function? How do we want our lives to be? And how do we want to get along with each other? And you know, there's unlimited possibilities in the universe. So we just have to realize that we can create anything that we really desire. So the question is, can we come together to uh, you know, accept our differences and our opinions and work together as fellow citizens to achieve consensus goals? Can we update our constitution, our legal system, our educational system? Uh, and can we create a society that has a decent, high standard of living for uh, all of its community members? And can we create a society where everybody has quality health care, equals opportunities, no matter if it's no matter what your age, your ethnicity, your religious belief, or your sexual persuasion? And can we strengthen NATO and declare that we're just not allowing any more aggressive attacks? We're not allowing any wars. So we need to have a strong NATO still. And this right now, we need to put together a strong NATO force that if anywhere in the world anybody has an aggressive attack on anyone else or another country, we just go in and put it down right away, and people realize that's no longer allowed. We could do that. Okay, but and then so I am going to have to kind of read a lot of this because I want to keep on track in a systematic order here. Otherwise, I get off on track on ranting on something. Okay, just what I expressed, that I think this is my idea of how many of the things that we need to do to get back on track to create the world that everyone truly really desires. Everyone really in the world wants to be safe. They want to have a decent standard of living. They want to be able to be creative and express themselves. They want to be free. Everybody wants that. So why are we not doing it? Ask yourself that. So also, I want to say that I'm certainly not an expert in any of these areas that we're talking about, except for health. And then I will express quite a bit of what I know needs to be done. Okay. And before we get going again, first of all, the only way that we are ever going to really create peace and prosperity and justice for all of, not only in America, but on the whole planet Earth, is when we begin to wake up and realize that we're all brothers and sisters on this planet. We're all one family. And when we begin to treat each other as such, then we can create that peace and that high standard of living for everybody on this planet. You know, all the teachings of all the masters have ever been on this planet, they all say the same thing. We're all eternal spiritual beings. We're created by one creative force uh, that we commonly call God, and that God created us all in love and doesn't judge us, doesn't punish us. That's just something that the outdated religions made up so they could control people based on fear. We judge and punish ourselves with our misguided actions. So I believe we're all here with a divine purpose, and that purpose is to raise our consciousness and learn how to live together on this planet in peace. That could be so amazing. So knowing this, and once we know that, then that we can create peace, we're no longer victims of fate, and we have the power to create the life that we want. So it's all about us individually waking up. No government, no laws are ever going to create peace and prosperity and justice for everybody. We have to do it individually. And then when enough people do it individually, it'll be there for everyone. Okay, so I want to go through the basic points uh, that we went through uh, on last week. Sorry, I'm trying to see how much time and look at my notes here. Okay, so the first one was about how our forefathers came to North America, and the Native Americans were already living here, but we ended up just slaughtering them and putting them on a reservation. That's not really what I would call a great country and a way to treat other people. So we need to treat and support Indian reservations and turn them into as just any other American city or a community. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's all going on, but I know we need to help them and raise their standard of living as well. Now, number 2 and 3 was about racism, and we had slavery in America. Now, the only way that we're ever going to get rid of racism is through education. And it's going to start. There's some people that just going to have to die off because they're never going to get past it. I don't know what the problem is, but they're just never going to get past it. So they just got to go. But we need to educate our young people from the beginning that there's only one race, the human race. We need to forget about all these races. It's great to have different countries and different ethnicities and different cultures. That's great. But there's only one race, the human race. That's what we have to get in our head and get rid of all this racial stuff. So once we teach that, I think then all our racial discriminations from the past now can be let go. But first, we also have to admit that of all the discrimination that's been going on and still goes on, and people that have been discriminated against and races have to be compensated for their losses. Now, numbers 4 and 5 were about our economic system, which needs a huge overhaul. I think most everybody who I've heard talk, economists and financial people, and they all agree that this society we have now is unsustainable. We have such a disparity between the haves and the have-nots, and there's so many people at the top when only like whatever it is, 5% of the people own 90% of the wealth, and we still have a large amount of people living in poverty or under the poverty line. That's unsustainable. It's not only immoral, but it's unsustainable. So something's got to be done. One first step, I think, would be, first of all, to just create a flat tax. So just and whatever that may be, and people currently under a certain level of income wouldn't have to pay maybe much less or maybe just a very small amount, so everybody's involved. And so this would get rid of all these different ways to get past your taxes and write-offs and it actually, I think, would bring in more revenue than we do now, and we could actually greatly reduce the IRS, which is a big expense every year. And I think next there needs to be a minimum wage that is really reasonable. It's a wage that everyone could be above the poverty level and have a decent standard of living. The next thing, as our economic system and our financial system, and as far as business goes, all the latest scientific information and knowledge and technology should be made available for everyone, so everyone has access to that. And so everybody can participate in business and trying to develop what we need next. And And so what we need is more cooperation and collaboration, not more competition. Now, this would still allow for the most innovative companies to be more successful. That's fine, as long as everybody has a decent standard of living. Anybody else can make as much money as they want. That would be all right. But of course, the real key again is how people wake up and realize again how we're all brothers and sisters. So they'll create their products and services that are the very best quality, and they're the safest, not only for for their customer, the consumers, but also for planet Earth. That's when we'll have a economic society that really works for everybody else. Now, number six was about our political system, which we all know has become totally dysfunctional. Having this two-party system that we have is really outlived its usefulness. It used to function all right. That's when people were a lot more civil and got along and tried to cooperate and tried to work out deals among each other, but it's got completely out of hand. Each party just only votes their party line, and they just try and say how the other party is the worst people in the world. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's like if you and I want to start a business and we're partners, and I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's go do this. You say, no, no, that's not going to work. We're going to go do this. What's going to happen? We're not going to get anything done. And so we're getting very little done right now. So we need to get rid of the two-party system. Why do we need two parties? We don't. We need one group of people that are elected as one body to go to Congress and to the Senate and the House and develop, what agendas that we need and what proposals and then we come together and then they come together and vote and pass these bills. It should be then it could be just a simple majority, no things tied up with all these different crazy things. Uh, and so we would actually get things accomplished. And so we need a new system for also for electing our officials. I'm sure that we could develop a system right now. If you don't have a large backing, if you don't have a lot of money behind you, there's almost no way you can get elected to almost any very high level official in a state or in the federal government. So we need to do a system that however people can work it out, however many uh, signatures you need to get on the ballot and a limit, a certain amount of number, and then they all get free time just to go on there, say, here's who I am, here's what my beliefs are, here's my agenda, here's what I want to get accomplished, here's the direction I think that we should go, and they don't have to, they don't get to talk about any of their opponents. Just talk about who you are, what you want to do, and that way, we can get rid of all this mudslinging and all this ridiculous advertising that everybody hates anyway. And plus, everybody's lying most of the time anyway. So nobody knows really how to get through who's telling the truth because most of the time they're not. Nobody's telling the truth, really. So this could actually work. Now, of course, we're not going to be able to get away with paid advertisements. Individual groups or companies can buy ads, but we can also restrict them. We can restrict them to, again, first of all, disclosing who they are and what they stand for, and again, they can suggest or recommend the policies and the people and the candidates that they want. But again, they don't get to go and say all these negative things about other people because we don't even know if it's true or not. So they can be restricted from that. We'll still get the information on everybody from all of our news outlets. They'll still be talking about what people did and who they are and what's going on and all that stuff. So this can make a huge difference. I think this is one of the most important things that I wish people could wake up and realize that this could really work. All right, got to keep going here. I got a lot to go through here. Okay, now number seven is about our educational system. So first of all, how unfair is it that supposedly all of our school system is a state or federally based school system, but yet many school districts get a lot more money and have a lot more funding than other schools. All the schools, no matter where they are, no matter what kind of economic area they are located in, they should get the same amount of federal funding so they have all the funds they need to offer quality education to all the students. That would make a huge difference. I think this would make a huge difference in getting rid of these low economic areas and poverty areas. Then the people who get educated can stay in those areas and clean them up and do all the right things and have the funds to do it as well. That can make a huge difference. I think it's also well known that our ways of teaching are really outdated. Just memorizing facts and formulas don't really teach. It doesn't teach people how to think, how to be creative, and using all this AI in schools has really, I think, accelerated this lack of true understanding of what you're doing or any kind of creative thinking. You just click on things and gets done for you. Not a good thing. And secondly, as far as education goes, think about this. What are we? What are the three main things that we all, as individuals, need to live a successful life, other than already being taught that we're loved and we have good self-esteem and that we're capable of creating whatever we want in our life? The three most important things is to learn how to build good relationships, not only with ourselves but with other people, of course, and how to create good individual health. So important. Good health and lots of energy. You can't be very productive or energetic if you don't have good health and lots of energy. Okay. And then thirdly, is how to develop financial and money management skills. Do you think this might create a more innovative and advanced workforce in society? Yes, I think it definitely would. Number eight was our justice system, which really needs a revamping. Only Pretty much only those with wealth and enough money to hire a battery of attorneys or good attorneys can get in justice or have a good chance of getting off, particularly if they're innocent. I'm not really sure what can be done about this, but something's got to be done. Maybe instead of just appointing inexperienced public defenders, maybe all the top attorneys have to spend a little time defending some people for free. I don't know, but we need to work on this. Again, we've got to get the money out of the legal system. If you and so people in this field need to figure out how we can create a lot more justice. And now we've seen that we have a Supreme Court now that has become completely politicized and are passing judgments based on and rulings that do not serve the will of the people. They only serve the will of the few. So first of all, I think we need to apply term limits to our Supreme Court justice, and the way they are chosen should be maybe boarded up for Congress, not by one president who has a particular bias agenda, like what happened in Trump's uh, 4 years. And now in our justice system, I think the most important change we need to change is we need to change from a punishment system to a rehabilitation system. First of all, only violent, dangerous people should be incarcerated. They have to be incarcerated and then tried to rehabilitate them if possible. Well, all others need to go through some sort of a rehabilitation program and public service program. The vast majority people who commit crimes, they're either lacking from a childhood of self-love uh, and feeling self-esteem about themselves, or they're lacking in education. They've been living in poverty and they're desperate, or they're mentally ill. These are the people who create crimes. There was this. I didn't do the research to find what their name was, and I'm not sure they're still doing this. But there was a small African community when everybody broke a law or created some crime against the society or anyone else. They would bring them together and put them in the middle of a circle of their peers, and all these people would start to tell them that they really cared for him and they loved him and they were there to support him and to help them get through whatever they were going through. And what they found was Rarely, almost 99% of all these people never created another crime. So again, that just shows what people really are lacking is a feeling of connection. It's a feeling of being loved or a feeling of having any control in their life. So that's what we need to give people, and that could really go a long way to reducing uh, a criminal activity. Now, also, it's it's primarily our young males in our society that commit most of the crimes and almost all of the violent crimes. So how about setting up some kind of a federal summer camp system for boys? I'm not even sure. Again, people who know more about it way more than me, maybe 12 years old. I don't know. Start having some summer camps for these for young boys to teach them to have much more self-esteem and self-love and how that we're all brothers and sisters and we need to respect and treat everybody fairly, especially girls and women and our planet Earth. We need to respect our planet Earth as well. So this could, I think, could go a long way to really reducing crime. Now, 9 and 10 is our healthcare system. This is a big one. We need to create a real healthcare system that teaches everyone how to care for their bodies and their minds. We need a preventative healthcare system. People always talk about how are we going to pay for all this high-tech medical care. Well, how about not having to pay for it? How about set up, teach people how to take care of themselves? We need to prevent it instead of worrying about how to pay for it. Does that make sense or what? So the first line of treatment should always be natural remedies that are proven to be effective by thousands of years by ancient indigenous people. Naturopathic and functional medicine doctors who look for the root causes of illnesses and treat their patients holistically should be our first choice for healing. Mainstream allopathic medicine is great for diagnosis, great for treating acute situations, but for most chronic illnesses, their treatments are almost not only mostly ineffective, but they're downright dangerous. Being in a hospital is one of the most dangerous places you can be. In fact, deaths from bad surgeries, overdoses, infections are really the third leading cause of death in America. So you want to avoid hospitals at all time. So we got to break the grip on mainstream medicine and big pharma over us. Treating diseases, in particular heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, it's big business. They don't want you to get well. They want you to just keep on buying their drugs. And all they don't care about your health. They care about how much money they can make. So unfortunately, it's all about the money. So it's up to us individuals to take responsibility for our health, healing, and well-being. And that's what my company, Ageless Living Lifestyle, is all about. And I want to let you know that I offer a free wellness solutions call to discuss some solutions for whatever health and fitness or aging or longevity challenges you may be having. So if you go to agelesslivinglifestyle.com, you can see our aging assessment there, see how well you're aging, and then you can book a free call with me and we'll discuss what challenges you're having and I'll give you some solutions that you can implement right away that'll going to make a big difference for you. Okay, I'm starting to run low on time here. So how about next one was about number 11 was about we produce America produce is the largest producer of mass destructive weapons and uh, all weaponry, guns and ammunition. We're the biggest. We produce the most, so we're supplying the world with all these weapons because it makes a lot of money. So they can go out and kill each other. So we need to spend less money on making guns and weapons and on war and a war machine. We need to create a peace machine. So we need to spend a lot more money on a peace academy than on a war academy. Number 12 was drug addiction. Drug addiction is just a sign and symptom of all the big challenges in America that we've been talking about. So the lasting solution is when we make a lot of these changes that we're talking about, then that's going to really reduce our demand for drugs, and that's will decrease the supply. So that's the only way we're going to take care of our drug addiction problem is to create a much more peaceful, justice, prosperous society for everybody else. Now, Number 13 was about our big food manufacturing business. So again, it's the same thing as big pharma. They're just out to produce whatever they can to make the most money. We have one of the worst food systems in the world, with all non-organic, with all these pesticides and additives and genetically modified uh, products that are causing so much illness for people. Now, we could still have big corporate farms, but they need to be organic farms. They need to produce food that is healthy and beneficial for everyone. But we need also more local organic farms so everybody can get fresh, healthy organic food that's not loaded with pesticides and additives and and we got to get rid of all this junk food for people. So once again, the only real change is going to come when the big food manufacturers realize that when they start to produce highly quality products, oh, we're already over time. Ah, shit.